Welcome to the DUI Defense Podcast. I'm David Jolly, and today we'll be diving into one of the most important and frequent questions that I get from my clients, and that is, can you travel to Canada after a DUI? Now, one of the reasons I get this question so often is that I live and work in the northwestern corner of Washington State, so most of my clients go to Canada because, well, it's right there. Anyway, in this podcast, I'll talk about how a DUI impacts U.S. citizens traveling to Canada, including the legal barriers, options like TRPs and criminal rehabilitation, and a few hopefully friendly tips along the way. The Peace Arch at the U.S.-Canada border is a symbol of friendly neighbors, but one mistake can make that crossing just a little bit tricky. Canadian law treats impaired driving very seriously, and under Canada's Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, IRPA, any foreign conviction equivalent to an indictable offense makes you criminally inadmissible, which means you can't go. In fact, Canada's border officers plug into U.S. law enforcement databases, often called the NCIC, via Canada's CPIC system, so your pass shows up in real time. Now, as soon as a U.S. passport is scanned, any DUI or DWI will appear almost immediately on their screen. Even a past DUI charge that was amended and reduced to other charges such as reckless driving or negligent driving in the first degree, for example, will trigger this ban. So, to summarize, a DUI or even a reduction to certain offenses is treated as serious criminality, which under Canadian rules means you normally will not be allowed to enter or stay unless Canada specifically gives you permission. Inadmissible literally means border officers will bar you from entry under immigration law. For example, Canada's site explains that some people aren't allowed to come to Canada if they're inadmissible. A DUI conviction falls under the category of serious criminality, so without special approval, you'll be refused entry. The only legal workaround is special permission. Otherwise, even a quick day trip or a flight, remember that, a flight or even a cruise into Canada can get you stopped at the border. In practice, this means your passport can be stamped inadmissible, and you'll have to return home. If you absolutely must visit Canada, say, for example, urgent business, family, or an important event, you can apply for a temporary resident permit, otherwise known as a TRP. A TRP is essentially a short-term waiver of inadmissibility. Canada grants it only if your reason for travel outweighs any risk that your past conviction or convictions pose. In other words, you need a strong justification like work, family emergency, and so forth. I mean, this is how, professional athletes and entertainers get into the country of Canada after, of course, a DUI. Getting a TRP is like getting a special pass. It usually matches the length of your trip. Official guidance from the Canadian immigration website says a TRP is usually issued for the length of your visit. When you apply for a TRP, you must pay a processing fee and submit documentation about your DUI, your reasons to visit, and any other background checks. There's no guarantee, by the way, that it'll be granted. Canadian officials emphasize that you should apply well in advance of travel. These applications can take some time to review, and by time, we're talking months, many, many months. Think of a TRP as really a Band-Aid solution. It gets you in for a visit, but it expires, and you'll need another TRP or other status for future trips. If you can wait and meet the requirements, Canadian criminal rehabilitation is a permanent solution. Under IRCC rules, you become eligible to apply after 5 years have passed since the end of your DUI sentence. Now, this includes payment of fines, completion of probation, or programs that were ordered by the court. It's only available if you have a single conviction. By the way, multiple DUI offenses or other serious crimes can still make you ineligible for deemed rehabilitation by time. If granted, criminal rehabilitation forgives your past offense for Canadian purposes. You never need to renew it. You actually permanently regain the right to enter Canada freely as long as your record stays clean. Unlike a TRP, you will not need a reason for each trip. You'll simply travel like a regular visitor once again. Of course, the rehab application itself is thorough and detailed and even confusing. The Immigration Canada Form IMM 1444 asks for your full criminal history, all addresses and job history, and evidence that you've led a law-abiding life since this one hiccup. It's wise to consult with an immigration attorney, by the way, a Canadian immigration attorney or experienced advisor, to prepare a strong application. Importantly, IRCC's own help center warns that rehab can take a long time. In fact, it says decisions can take over a year. So start early. Once you hit the 5-year mark, file the application right away. All right, here are some traveler tips if you're looking to get back up north to Canada. Plan early. Treat this like a visa application, not a quick border hop. Start the process months ahead of your trip. If you aim for rehabilitation that is, apply as soon as you hit the 5-year mark and brace for another 12 or more months of processing. Get expert advice. The DUI rules are complex. A Canadian immigration lawyer can help you, help assemble your documents, and improve your chances. Be honest and forthcoming. Do not try to hide or downplay a DUI. Canadian Border Services have full access to U.S. criminal records. Papers, fingerprints, or database checks will reveal it. Lying or omitting convictions can get you banned for years. Understand the rules apply to everyone. It doesn't matter if you plan to fly into Vancouver, for example, take a train, cross by car, or stay as a passenger. A DUI flags you in all cases. Even if you swear you will not drive and maybe you only want to visit for a day, the Border Patrol, they don't care. Bring proof of any positive developments, completion of rehab programs, community service, alcohol education courses, or anything showing that you paid your dues. If your DUI was reduced or even diminished later, carry official court records. Good documentation can make the difference in getting a TRP or rehabilitation approved. Remember, crossing the border is usually routine unless, you have a red flag. And a DUI is a big red flag for Canada. With preparation, think of it as applying for special permission. You can go, but leave nothing to chance. Plan ahead, consult a professional, and keep everything transparent. If it all goes well, you'll be enjoying poutine in Quebec or bears in Banff without the border putting you in the penalty box.